The emergency signal, the galaxy was silent, too silent. Trade ships floated across lanes, soldiers guarded borders, and alien rulers argued over politics as they always did. But that silence was broken when an emergency signal cut through every channel, every screen, every frequency. Warning, emergency signal. A human dreadnought has entered this sector. Prepare for war. The words echoed again and again, translated into 100 alien tongues. Panic spread like fire. In marketplaces, alien civilians dropped their goods and ran. In command centers, admirals froze, their faces pale. Even pirates stopped fighting each other when they heard it. For centuries, humanity had been a forgotten name. Long ago, the Galactic Council had exiled them, laughing at Earth's weakness. To most, humans were only a story, a memory of a broken race that should have vanished in the dark. But now the emergency signal spoke of something new. The human dreadnought. It was said no other ship in the galaxy could compare. It was not just a battleship, was a monster, forged in silence, hidden from every eye, and now it was moving. Admiral Koran of the Valea fleet was the first to hear the signal in his command chamber. His claws tapped against the steel desk. As he listened, around him, officers whispered in fear. "This must be a trick," one said. "Humans are weak," another argued, though his voice shook. Koran silenced them with a glare. "Weak races do not send signals like this." He pulled up the star charts. At the edge of the sector, a massive object was indeed moving, bigger than any fleet carrier, heavier than any fortress ship. It was slow, deliberate, unstoppable. "Is this real?" one officer asked. The sensors confirmed it. The dreadnought was no lie. On distant worlds, alien rulers argued in fear. "Perhaps it is only one ship," said a counselor. "One ship that dares to challenge us all." Another snapped. "It must be destroyed before it reaches our colonies." But deep down, even they felt the chill. Everyone remembered how humanity had once been treated, mocked, beaten, humiliated. No one had believed the exiles could rise again, and yet here it was. Their answer, their vengeance, flying through the dark. Meanwhile, in a hidden human command center far away, the crew of the dreadnought prepared in silence. Captain Arden stood at the center of the bridge, his eyes hard as steel. Around him, human officers tightened their grips on consoles, waiting. "Transmission complete," the COM officer reported. "The galaxy has heard the signal." "Good," Arden said. His voice was calm, but his hands were clenched. "Let them fear us before they see us." The dreadnought's engines burned with quiet power, pushing the mountain of steel forward. It was more than a ship, it was a symbol. Every rivet, every cannon, every glowing shield was a piece of human rage turned into iron. "Captain," said the weapons officer, "enemy scouts are watching us already." "Let them watch," Arden replied. "Soon they will learn." Back in the alien fleets, fear turned into action. The Vela admiral shouted, "Send every ship we have. Intercept them before they reach our colonies." 1,000 alien ships began to move, engines blazing, weapons charged. But inside every commander's mind was a single question. What if one ship is enough to end us? The broadcasts kept repeating, spreading like thunder. "Emergency. A human dreadnought has arrived. Prepare for war." In the streets of alien cities, ordinary people whispered. Some laughed nervously, saying it must be a hoax. Others remembered. Old human traders, strange stories of Earth's past wars. And they grew pale. One old alien merchant muttered, "I saw humans once. They were small, but their eyes were the eyes of predators. If they have built a dreadnought, then the galaxy will never be the same." Admiral Corran's fleet approached the edge of the system. The massive shadow of the dreadnought appeared on their screens. It was bigger than anything they had ever seen, its outline sharp and dark against the stars. For a moment, no one spoke. One officer whispered, "It looks like a mountain moving through space." Another said, "That cannot be one ship." But it was, and it was waiting. On the dreadnought's bridge, Captain Arden gave a single order: activate the beacon. A new signal cut through the galaxy, louder, clearer, deadlier. "We are humanity. You cast us out. You thought we would die, but we did not. We endured, we built, and now we return." Every alien fleet, every alien world heard those words. The broadcast ended with a final warning, heavy and cold: prepare for war. Admiral Corran's claws shook. Around him, his officers stared at the screens in terror. The dreadnought had not fired a shot, and yet already the galaxy trembled, and in the silent dark, the human warship continued forward, unstoppable, its shadow stretching like death itself. The emergency signal was no longer just a warning. It was a promise. Humanity had returned. Asterisk, the dreadnought awakens. The stars trembled. That was how the aliens described it later. When the human dreadnought crossed into the inner system, the very space around it seemed to bend. It was no ordinary warship. It was a fortress, a moving mountain of steel and fire. Its surface was black like night, broken only by scars of glowing lines that pulsed as if the ship itself was alive. Alien fleets had seen massive carriers, siege fortresses, even ring worlds of war, but this was something different. This was human will, turned into metal. From his command bridge, Admiral Corran of the Vela fleet watched the dreadnought appear. His fleet of nearly 200 ships stood ready, weapons glowing, shields raised. But the sight of the human vessel made even his hardened warriors whisper in fear. One officer stammered, "Admiral, it's larger than 3 of our carriers combined." Another said, "The energy reading is off the charts. Our scanners can't even measure it properly." Corran narrowed his eyes, then stopped measuring. "We attack first. If we hesitate, we die." But deep inside, even he felt the tremor of doubt. Inside the dreadnought, Captain Arden stood calmly on the bridge. The crew moved with silent precision, every console glowing with cold light. The ship did not feel like a machine, it felt like a predator, crouched and ready to strike. "Enemy fleet approaching," the sensor officer reported. Arden nodded. "Let them come closer. We will show them." The dreadnought's hull hummed, its ancient engines glowing brighter. This was not the birth of the ship. This was its awakening. As alien fleets drew closer, they sent messages across open channels. "This is Admiral Corran of the Vela fleet. Human ship, you are in restricted space. Power down and surrender." The dreadnought gave no reply. Another message came, this time harsher. "You are one ship against hundreds. Shut down your weapons, or we will erase you." Still silence. The dreadnought continued to move, slow and deliberate, like a beast walking into enemy territory without fear. Alien officers exchanged nervous looks. It was not arrogance. It was confidence, the kind that only comes from knowing something the enemy does not. Finally, one Vela captain grew impatient. "Fire warning shots," he barked. A dozen alien cruisers launched bright beams of plasma across the void. The energy streaked toward the dreadnought. and vanished. Every shot died against an invisible wall. The dreadnought did not shake. It did not even flicker. It was as if the weapons had been swallowed by the dark itself. On Karan's bridge, silence fell. One officer whispered, It absorbed the shots. Another said, no, it erased them, as if they never existed. Karan's jaw tightened. So be it. We strike with everything. 200 alien ships unleashed their fury. Space, lit up with plasma storms, missile swarms, ion beams, and gravity lances. The void itself glowed under the storm of destruction, and when the fire cleared, the human dreadnought was still there. Not a scratch. Its black hull shimmered like a nightmare. And then, slowly, it began to move faster. On the human bridge, Captain Arden spoke at last. His voice was calm, almost gentle. They wanted war. Let them see war. The dreadnought's weapon ports opened. No fire blazed. No bright explosions came. Instead, silence fell. A strange hum filled the void, a deep vibration that made alien. Ships shake as if space itself was rebelling. And then light, not one beam, not one missile, just a single, perfect line of white light fired from the dreadnought's heart. It cut through 20 alien cruisers in one instant. Their shields collapsed like paper. Their hulls melted into ash dot. The galaxy had seen many weapons, but this was different. This was something no alien race had ever dared to create. Panic spread across the Vela fleet. Impossible, an officer screamed. We are being slaughtered. Another cried. Admiral Karen's claws dug into his chair. His heart hammered, but he forced his voice steady. Hold the line. We must stop them here, or no one will stop them anywhere. But deep in his mind, he already knew the truth. They could not hold. On the dreadnought, the weapons officer reported, 20 targets destroyed. The fleet is breaking. Arden nodded once. Send the message. A new broadcast cut through the system, sharper than the emergency signal before. This is the Terran dreadnought. We do not seek conquest, but we will not bow. You exiled us. You thought us broken. Today, you learn the cost of that mistake. Alien worlds across the galaxy heard the words. For the first time in centuries, they realized something terrifying. Humanity had not just survived. Humanity had evolved. The dreadnought advanced, firing. Again, another 50 ships fell in seconds. The battlefield turned into fire and wreckage, alien screams echoing across channels. The mighty Vela fleet, proud defenders of their empire, was reduced to debris floating in the cold dark. First contact first. Strike the galaxy was still echoing with the destruction of the Vela fleet. Fragments of their proud warships drifted like bones in space, glowing in the light of distant suns. The story spread faster than any fleet could. Travel, on every world. Aliens whispered the same words with fear. The humans are back. But while the galaxy trembled, the dreadnought pressed forward, silent, unstoppable. On the human bridge, Captain Arden stood at the viewing glass. His eyes never left the wreckage fading behind them. His crew worked in silence, but tension weighed heavy. Finally, Lieutenant Mara spoke. Sir, that was 200 ships, destroyed in minutes. The galaxy will see us as monsters. Our jaw tightened. They wanted monsters when they exiled us. We became exactly what they feared. Another officer added quietly, and what if we prove them right? For the first time, silence fell on the bridge, not of discipline, but of doubt. Even within the dreadnought, not every heart was steady. Far away in the council chambers of The Zelthari Dominion, alien leaders, shouted at one another. This cannot be. One cried, it was one ship. Another roared, if they can build one, they can build more. We must unite our fleets now. Strike before Earth rises. But among the chaos, a smaller voice whispered what no one wanted to admit. What? If it is already too late? Meanwhile, unseen in the shadows, other powers moved. A group of alien spies, small insectoid creatures from the Kral Syndicate, slipped aboard one of the wrecked Vela hulks. They recorded fragments of human weapon fire, strange data streams, and pieces of melted steel. This technology is beyond us, one spy clicked in fear. Then we must bring it back. The Council will pay anything to learn their secrets. For the first time in centuries, alien spies were not hunting for advantage, they were hunting for survival. Back on the Dreadnought, alarms rang out. "Captain," shouted the sensor officer. "New contacts. A Dominion strike fleet is inbound for 100 ships." The crew stiffened. Arden turned slowly, calm as ever. "So they send another test." Lieutenant Mara whispered, 400. "Sir, even this ship cannot hold forever." Arden's eyes were cold. "Then we show them what forever means." The alien fleet appeared in formation, vast as a storm. 400 ships, glowing with weapons, shields raised. Their commander sent a single message, "Human vessel. You are surrounded. This is your only warning. Surrender." "For the first time," Arden replied. His voice was broadcast across every channel, every alien ship. "We are the Terran Dreadnought. We do not surrender. If you want us, come and take us." The Dominion fleet attacked in unison. Missiles screamed. Energy waves lit the stars. Even the Dreadnought's mighty shields shuddered under the storm. On the bridge, the crew gripped. Their stations, alarms flashing red, shields holding at 92%. The engineer shouted. "Return fire," Arden commanded. The Dreadnought's guns roared. Beams of light sliced through enemy destroyers. Plasma storms tore apart enemy cruisers. Alien ships exploded one by one, but for every vessel destroyed, another pressed forward. This was no ambush. This was a war. And then the Dreadnought revealed something new. "Captain, main weapon charged," the weapons officer said, fear in his voice. "Fire it," Arden ordered. The Dreadnought's core opened. Energy gathered not a beam, not a missile, but a pulse. A ripple of white fire exploded outward, spreading across the void like a tidal wave dot. Every alien ship it touched froze. Their engines died. Their weapons shut down. Entire battlecruisers went silent, drifting helpless in space. It was not a weapon of destruction. It was a weapon of control. The galaxy had seen ships that killed. They had never seen a ship that could silence an entire fleet with a single pulse. On the alien flagship, panic broke out. "They have disabled us. Engines are offline. We are helpless." The commander's mandibles shook. Retreat at once. But it was useless. The pulse had already trapped them. On the Dreadnought, Lieutenant Mara whispered, "My God, we've become gods to them." Arden shook his head. "Not gods, just humans." And they made the mistake of forgetting what humans can do. The Dominion fleet broke apart. Those who could still move fled in terror. Those who couldn't were left drifting, their lights dark, their crews helpless. The Dreadnought advanced through the wreckage, unharmed. It did not need to fire again. The message was already clear. Across the galaxy, fear turned into something worse. Realization. Humanity was no longer a broken exile. Humanity had returned with weapons the galaxy had never dreamed of. And for the first time, the galaxy understood this was only first contact. The true war had only just begun. Asterisk, the fear spreads. The galaxy didn't sleep anymore. Ever since the Terran Dreadnought disabled the Dominion fleet, no system felt safe. It didn't matter how strong their fleets were, or how far their homeworlds lay from the edges of space, because the Dreadnought didn't need an army. It was the army. On the scorched remains of planet Sherva-6, a single alien child held a drawing. Crude lines on dusty stoner, huge black ship with a burning core, cutting through dozens of other ships dot above the picture. The child had written the word they'd all learned to fear, human. In the hidden council chambers of the Galactic Union, fear had become politics. The council leader, a towering insectoid named Gorthan, slammed his claws on the table. "We need peace," he hissed. A reptilian admiral spat back. "You think you can negotiate with that thing? That ship speaks only in destruction." An AI diplomat projected a silent video across the room, images of drifting Dominion ships, cold and silent, taken just after the Dreadnought's pulse weapon fired. The room fell quiet, while the empires shouted, the people whispered. On mining colonies, alien workers shared stories. "I heard the humans never sleep inside the ship. They're wired directly to its brain. My cousins saw it move between stars in seconds. No jump gate, just disappeared. Did you hear? Some say it's not a ship. It's a living thing now." The Dreadnought had become a ghost ship, a myth told in real time. But it was no myth. On board the Dreadnought, silence ruled the halls. Captain Arden stood inside the ship's core chamber, staring at the massive glowing engine heart. It pulsed, slowly, almost like a heartbeat. Beside him, Chief Engineer Della spoke softly. "Sir, this ship wasn't made for peace." "I know," Arden said. "It listens to us, but sometimes I feel like it's learning." Arden didn't answer. He simply placed his hand on the control node. The ship's systems reacted. Instantly, syncing with his pulse, his breath, his thoughts. The Dreadnought wasn't just a machine. It was evolving with them. Across the galaxy, something strange happened. Not fear, not just fear, but hope in the underground of the Malari. Federation, a resistance leader whispered to his allies, "Maybe this ship is our chance. Maybe humans will burn the tyrants who've ruled us for centuries." On a water world ruled by the Thauran dynasty, prisoners scratched human symbols into their cell walls. On smuggler outposts, traders began asking, "Can we find them? Can we help them?" For the first time in 1,000 years, the balance of power was shaking. Not because of war, but because one ship had reminded the galaxy what freedom through fear looked like. Back in space, another fleet tried to intercept the Tyric Armadath 300 elite warships, equipped with experimental stealth tech they didn't announce. Themselves, they didn't send warnings. They simply surrounded the Dreadnought and launched their strike. On the Dreadnought's bridge, alarms flickered. Incoming fire. Captain Stealth class, multiple vectors. Arden didn't flinch. "Activate the core shield. Prepare counter-ignition." The Dreadnought pulsed once and then disappeared. Not cloaked, not hidden, gone dot. The Tyric ships. Panicked. Where did it go? It was right here. Seconds later, the Dreadnought reappeared inside their formation. Its side cannons rotated, and space itself rippled. Dozens of Tyric warships collapsed, as if crushed by invisible fists. It wasn't firepower. It was gravity, torn and twisted by human science the galaxy still didn't understand. Back on the bridge, Lieutenant Mara whispered, "We didn't even fire the main gun." Captain Arden stared at the destruction outside. They never deserved it. The few surviving Tyrek ships fled into deep space. But the damage was done. The Dreadnought had shown a new weapon, a silent killer, and the galaxy listened and watched and trembled. In secret meetings, alien leaders spoke behind closed doors. "We cannot win through war. We must understand them. What do the humans want?" No one had an answer. But deep in the silence between stars, the Dreadnought floated on, moving, unshaken, and across thousands of worlds, graffiti appeared on walls, carved into stone, sprayed in bright red across statues of alien emperors. Asterisk, humanity's returneth. Galaxy waited. From the frozen moons of the Drask Consortium to the burning skies of Hera Prime, every screen, every satellite, every eye was pointed toward one ship, not a fleet, not a nation. Just one ship, the Terran Dreadnought, and it had stopped for 3 days. It hovered in neutral space, completely still, not responding to signals, not firing, not retreating. Alien fleets watched from afar, afraid to move closer. Civilizations argued in council halls. Some said attack, others said beg for peace. But deep down, all of them were asking the same question. What do the humans want? Inside the Dreadnought, the crew worked in silence. The engines were idle, the weapons powered down. The crew wasn't preparing for war anymore. They were waiting. Captain Arden stood alone in the communication chamber. A soft blue light blinked. In the center, waiting his message, he closed his eyes. For a moment, he wasn't the captain of the most powerful ship in the galaxy. He was just a man from a forgotten world. Then he spoke. The transmission exploded across the stars. Every channel, every frequency, every language, even those who didn't want to hear it, did. We were exiled, forgotten, laughed at, left to die, but we did not die. We built in the dark. In silence, while the galaxy looked away, we prepared. You feared us once, then you mocked us. Now you remember us. His voice sharpened. This Dreadnought is not a threat. It is a warning. We will not conquer you. We will not rule you. But we will not bow. We are returning. Not just with weapons, but with truth. The galaxy is broken, and if you will not fix it, we will. The message ended with a single line. Earth remembers everything. The response was chaos. Some worlds cheered. Resistance leaders raised human flags. In secret, alien scientists began studying Terran Technot to destroy it. But to understand it, some empires threatened retaliation, but their own generals hesitated. Some species simply knelt and said, "We're ready," but one empire, most ancient, refused to kneel. The Krath Dominion, rulers of over 400 star systems, sent their supreme fleet. 900 ships, their leader, Supreme Marshal Zahn, transmitted live to every world. This ship is a symbol of chaos. We will destroy it and remind the galaxy who truly rules. The Krath fleet approached fast. Their ships formed a black wall of death, but on the Dreadnought, no one rushed. No one panicked, because they had been expecting this. Captain Arden turned to his crew. "This is it." Lieutenant Mara looked at the countdown, "Sir. If we use that protocol, we don't know what happens next." "I know," Arden said, "but it's time we show them what humanity really is." He walked to the command throne and placed his hand on the final key. Protocol, Ascension, Engage. The dreadnought changed, its black hull lit with lines of gold and blue. The core expanded, glowing brighter than a star. Wings unfolded from hidden ports. Its entire mass lifted, not just with engines, but with energy, like it was shedding its physical limits. The dreadnought rose like a god, glowing, humming, watching. The Krath fired first. 900 ships unleashed fire across space. None of it touched the dreadnought, because in that moment it wasn't there anymore. The dreadnought split into echoes, like reflections on shattered glass. Every ship that tried to lock on saw a different version. Some saw it ahead, others behind. Some saw nothing at all, and then the dreadnought responded. It didn't fire a weapon, it released a pulse of lightwine that didn't destroy. It disabled every Krath ship, gently. It sent memories into their minds, Earth's destruction, the screams, the exile, the rebuilding. Every Krath soldier felt what humanity had endured. Every Krath admiral saw Earth burning, and then Earth rebuilding, and then Earth rising. When the light faded, the Krath fleet turned and left not defeated by fire, but by understanding. Across the stars, one truth echoed louder than fear. The humans don't want revenge, they want change. And so, a choice was given, not a demand, not a threat. A single message appeared on every screen: stand with Earth or stand aside. From that day forward, the galaxy was never the same, because humanity didn't just return, they awakened the rest of the galaxy